What is the point of middle school athletics? To prepare these incoming athletes for high school athletic programs, right? Then why disadvantage students by applying these rules that won't be utilized in high school? Today I will discuss the problems facing middle school volleyball athletes of the El Paso Independent School District, then present the methods I use to gather data, then discuss the results I have found so far, and then conclude this presentation with reasonable recommendations. So what is the problem? Well, there are 4 major disadvantages middle school volleyball athletes are facing today. More girls equals less practice and playing time. What I mean by this is that there is a required number of girls needed to be on the team, ranging from 6 to 20 girls. Keep in mind, there are only 6 girls permitted to be on the court. This makes it impossible for athletes to get adequate practice and playing time, and not many will be able to develop certain skills equally, which is unfair. Now, afternoon practices are a disadvantage to the girls because it interferes with their academic and athletic performances. If practices were allowed to be held at 5 o'clock in the morning, once again, the athletes wouldn't have to miss practice or tutoring. Another disadvantage would be the high expectations the athletes have for high school sport participation. Due to the fact that the EPISD athletic department requires middle schools to divide the 6 to 20 girls in half to create 2 teams, all girls play, which causes girls to think that they have a spot already set for them in high school. And in reality, there is no spot guaranteed. And of course, no more fun competitive volleyball. What is volleyball without any competitive fun? Because there must be 16 to 20 girls, more likely there will be some girls that don't even love the sport, that only want to be there for the uniform, which can cause the game to lose its competitive and passion environment it should have. Once I identified the problems, I came up with the following research questions. How can we alter the rules so that the EPISD middle school volleyball athletes get a better chance of developing more skill? In this case, I am asking what is the process we must go through to change EPISD current policies? What are high school level coaches' tryout and participation regulations? And in this case, what are the coaches' expectations? And how likely or unlikely will these athletes be able to play? How can we cope with parents that expect their child to participate in the volleyball program? This is important because we will have to face parents that disagree with the change. To support my research, I will be collecting qualitative research. Just to name a few of sites and journals that I gathered data from are Human Kinetics, a closer look at some trends in youth sport participation, in which gives evidence to participation trends. Key Themes in Youth Sport by Ken Green, that reveals the truth of participation in sports. and the online journal of Sport Psychology, Future Directions in Coaching Life Skills, which stresses the importance of coaches doing things specifically for teaching their athletes life skills. Now, the people that will benefit and or be impacted by my research are the EPISD middle school volleyball players, 7th and 8th, and their parents, and the coaches. The subject matter experts that I interviewed for my research were the director of the EPISD athletics department, whom requested to be anonymous, the Nolan Richardson Middle School head coach, whom requested to be anonymous, the H.E. Charles Middle School head coach, whom also requested to be anonymous, and 2 athletes, Amanda Camacho and Shaquilla Wilkes. The instruments that I used to gather my data were observations, interviews, questionnaires, and case studies. To ensure validity and reliability, I made sure that the research I found was closely related to my research questions. I asked those that I interviewed relevant questions, and I observed at practices and games more than once for accuracy. And more than half of the middle school EPISD volleyball coaches agree that this is a problem worth fixing. In the following slide, I will present the data I collected from my research, interviews, and observations, then discuss briefly how the data relates to my initial research questions. In my research, I found the importance of one-to-one coaching relationships with athletes. This serves as evidence that it is important that coaches and athletes develop a relational bond so that the athlete could become a better one in multiple ways. This could help persuade the athletic department to alter current policies. In this online journal by Ralph McNeil, he conducts research on stratifying patterns of participation and concludes that there will always be factors that keep students from participating, and that it is not required for coaches to keep students on their teams in high school. The results in my interviews will be used as evidence of the problems affecting the students in case the departments think this is just a request to benefit the coaches only. The following observations I have recorded prove that EPISD volleyball athletes have disadvantages. But the most significant observation was how unified and more skilled Socorro Independent School District volleyball teams were because they had less girls to work with. In conclusion to my presentation, I recommend these 3 steps so that EPISD middle school volleyball athletes can have adequate practice and playing time, be able to balance academic and athletic responsibilities, and to help prepare them for high school level volleyball. Step 1. Lower or abandon the required amount of players on the team. Step 2. Allow 5 o'clock morning practices. Step 3. Apply high school volleyball rules to middle school volleyball. After all, the purpose for middle school athletics is to prepare athletes for high school and possibly collegiate level volleyball. Thank you.